Folks, welcome back to the Mustang Hockey Hot So series. I'm Clark Singer, head coach of the Western Mustang men's hockey program. I know we've not been together for a couple of weeks, but we're extremely lucky tonight to have a great guest, a great man, Vancouver Canuck captain Bo Horvat is joining us from Montreal tonight. Actually, Vancouver had an overtime or a shootout win last night in Ottawa and traveled to Montreal last night where they play the Canadiens tomorrow. So very, very fortunate to have Bo with us tonight with such a difficult and challenging National Hockey League schedule this year. We're really happy he could take some time out of his schedule to be on the hot stove tonight. To give Bo a very proper introduction, I'd like to give a short intro to Dwayne Blaze. Skills coach extraordinaire. I've known Dwayne for a long time. Dwayne is the owner of Total Package Hockey here in London. He's been the skills coach for the Washington Capitals for a few years. He's been our skills development coach for the last 4 years and also played a role in Bo's development as a young man and hockey player. So I'll turn things over to Dwayne for the intro of Bo.
All right. Thanks a lot, Clark. Thanks, Ryan. And obviously, hello to everybody. And I hope everyone's doing well. And thanks to Bo. I've been bugging him for a bit to come on and with Clark and Ryan doing a lot of work behind the scenes. So thank you, Bo. But I just wanted to intro Bo really quick. And for those who don't know him as a person, everyone knows what he's like as a player. I'm sure you've seen him on the ice with the London Knights or with the Vancouver Canucks. And you can hockey DB him and check out all his stats. And he's been obviously part of the national program at the U17, 18, World Juniors, and all that stuff. When you look at Bo Horvat, you think of a player that played minor midget, did well, got drafted in the first round of the OHL, got drafted in the first round of the NHL, and now he's playing in the NHL. He's a captain in the NHL. That's how it's supposed to go for a good player. And I can tell you, just knowing Bo really well, and I've got to know Bo since he was in Bantam, there was a lot of hard work that Bo put in behind the scenes, and you couldn't ask for a better guy. When I talked to him today about doing an intro for him, he said, just tell everyone I just play hockey for a living. And that's the type of guy he is. He's just an unbelievable person. If you ever had a chance to meet him, he'll take time to sign autographs, talk to people. He's an unbelievable person. But I just really want to touch on quickly and just the work he put in behind the scenes to maintain the level he plays out, obviously, and just, working on things. And I'm sure if you followed Bo's career a little bit or heard anything about him when he was younger, he's not going to be fast enough. We don't know if he's going to be quick enough. And, a couple of years later, he ends up being in the All-Star Game or the All-Star weekend, I guess, as in the fastest skating contest. Like, he's done things all the way through to keep filling his game and making his game better and becoming more of a complete player. And couldn't be more proud of him as a person, number one, and obviously as a player. Being a captain in the NHL is unbelievable. So I'll hand it over to Bo and Ryan, and I hope everyone enjoys the hot stove today. It should be a fun one. So.
Before I get too far in, Bo, do you want to take any shots at Blazer before we make him disappear? You're on mute, Bo.
There we go.
The internet connectivity was playing a little trouble with Bo. We're still the
Am I still on?
Age-old AirPods go away, and now we can hear them.
Am I still on mute?
No, you're good.
All right. No, I just wanted to say, obviously, thanks, Blazer. You didn't have to say all that. You could have said what I told you to say, and no, Blazer's been unbelievable in my entire career. Just helping me get to the next level, helping me get better. So can't thank him enough for everything he's done for me. So thanks again, Blazer.
Anytime, buddy. Man. Good luck, and good luck tomorrow night, and enjoy the hospital. All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right.
We'll let Dwayne go and watch the show, and he and Clark can run the sergeant at arms duty for the chat later on, because I'm sure there'll be some interesting questions come along. Bo, it's been a day or two. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
I made the joke before we came on that I said I was surprised because I think going back to when Clark had brought up the whole idea of the hot stove to me, I had it way back a few months back, and he said, I've got a really good connection with this guy. I got a really good connection with that guy. Here's who I think we should have on the show. And then I said to him, I was like, I think you need a player. And he goes, who do you think? And I was like, well, Bo, but I'm sure he doesn't want to see me anymore because I bothered him for like 2-3 years solid. So I was expecting it was Ryan's doing it. No, I've had enough of him.
No, not at all. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share some stories and answer some questions.
So first things first kind of thing. I'm always like to go kind of a little bit further back as opposed to saying, giving me the recap of what happened last night. Cause I'm sure, you've already answered 7,000 questions about every night this year. That's been crazy sort of thing. But take me back to, the young days of you. And I know, the factor, sometimes you ask a guy where he's from and people will generalize. You always are very proud and passionate to say that you're from Rodney, Ontario, sort of thing. Is that kind of Dwayne talked about it off the top? Your personality, easygoing, all those sort of things. Is that kind of why you identify so much with being the kid from Rodney, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like a couple things. A couple magazines or like hockey things would have my home address as being from London, Ontario, and I tell everybody, like, no, that's not where I'm from. I'm from Rodney, like small little town. That's I'm proud to be from there. It's where I grew up. It's that's where my roots are, and I've had so much support there, and a lot of people have supported me through all these years and helped me get where I am today. So it makes me proud to be from there for sure.
Obviously, if some people kind of turn around and say, "Kid from Rodney played for the Knights," it was a close proximity. Do a lot of people think that you only traveled about 20 minutes your career before you went to Vancouver, kind of thing? But you traveled around all kinds in between those two stages.
Yeah, no, I mean, I played further away in minor hockey than I did in actual in the OHL. Obviously, playing in Toronto for a couple of years and playing in the GTHL for the Toronto Red Wings and moving away at a young age. So it made the transition a lot easier being close to home and living away from home when I got to junior. So, I was really fortunate, obviously, to get drafted by London and be close to home and to have my family right there was great. So, and I still live in London right now in the off season. So it's been home for me for a while.
You mentioned moving away at the young age. It was what, 12 or 13 that you went to Toronto, kind of thing. What effect did that kind of have on you at that point, sort of thing? Because I know I was like, for those who haven't seen it, you were the first guest actually on Dwayne's podcast Behind the Gear, and in that one you kind of talked about the fact that you made it about halfway before you kind of questioned it a little bit, but then you decided inevitably that make that trip to Toronto. And I know in that instance you said that kind of you didn't know it at the time, but it kind of shifted the gear for the rest of the hockey path.
Yeah, no, I mean, at that time, you're 12, 13 years old and moving away from home. It's never going to be easy. And like I said, I remember that drive and having second thoughts and making you're moving away from home, completely different family, different school. And I just got nervous, obviously, as a 12-year-old kid. And I just kind of, I don't know what hit me or anything like that. It just kind of clicked where I just wanted to try it out. And, I knew if it wasn't going to work out, I could come home at any time. So it ended up being an unbelievable experience for me. It grew me as a person, as a player. So I don't regret it one bit. I'm happy I made that decision and made new friends and had new experiences and had success there. So I don't regret that choice one bit.
To some people, first round in the OHL, first round in the NHL. Do some people have this mentality that they kind of say he was first round? It was an easy path for him, sort of thing. Dwayne kind of said it off the top. Even though some people think first round, you kind of got the good path, sort of thing. You've worked your tail off since day one, kind of thing. Has it always kind of felt like is that small town mentality coming back again a little bit? That got to work for it all the time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. You always listen. Even when I was getting drafted to the OHL, I was always told I wasn't going to be fast enough, and I was probably going to go maybe the second round. And people were telling me maybe the college group was going to be best for me. And I wanted to play in the OHL my entire life. And when you hear those things, it pushes you to work that much harder to try to get there and try to prove people wrong. So, and then again, in the NHL, I was always ranked, in the second round, definitely not in the top 10. And again, just pushed me to be better. And and obviously had some fortunate years and really good teams to play on. And it just kind of, I guess the rest is history.
OHL draft year. I know, scenario for you, number 7, 8 comes along. I know you've said it in the past that as soon as somebody else was taken at the 8th spot, you kind of had an idea of where the 9th spot was going to go, coming here to London sort of thing. As a media person at the time, I think it was the happiest I've been on OHL draft day, because I knew it was only going to take about 20 minutes before the first rounder actually got to town. We didn't have to wait like 2 or 3 hours for him to show up. Do you remember that day like it was yesterday kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. I remember sitting in my parents' living room, bunch of people in town. And just listening to it online, and I heard actually one of my best buddies, Max Domi, go to Kingston ahead of me, and all of a sudden I was like, hey, I thought I was going to go to Kingston maybe, and all of a sudden they took him, and then we're like, okay, I'm like, next up we could be going to London here, and sure enough, ended up getting drafted to London, and then obviously Max came, that same summer, so. It just worked out awesome. My mom, I remember my mom just started crying because she knew I was going to be home and, close to home instead of being in the Sioux or something like that. So, I know we were really excited that day.
And we all, for those who don't know, if you have been around a team you've been involved with, your dad is always close proximity by. Was that also a scenario where you kind of said, I'm excited because everybody's going to be close by, but it probably meant mom and dad were right there at all times?
Yeah. It was a little bit of both. Obviously it was great to have your parents there at every single game and every single home game. And, obviously they're two of my biggest fans and biggest supporters. So to have them there and close to me it was great to see them at every single game.
What was that kind of mentality aspect of, like, especially when you said you and Max come together, you're both first round picks sort of thing. Usually the first round pick in the OHL draft, it becomes almost a good thing, but at the same point you get all that attention for especially a hockey crazed market like London kind of thing. Did having you and Max's first rounders together in the same year, was that helpful, or was that or is it just as much pressure being, a first round kid kind of thing?
No, it was helpful. I mean, Max is a heck of a hockey player. So, I mean, I think we pushed each other, if anything, just trying to be the best we could be. And it definitely made the transition a lot easier, knowing that I was going to do it with a kid my age and, somebody who's going through the same things I was, different schools and moving away from home. So, obviously Max and I are pretty tight, and it was good to go through the entire process, with somebody instead of doing it all by yourself.
Those first few years, especially the first year, there was obviously a lot of Max and Bo and Max. It was kind of you were inseparable as far as people's conversation sort of thing. But talk about those other guys that now are your colleagues at the big league level too, sort of thing. I think back to the whether it was called the lunchbox line, the kid line. I think you guys had about 14 different phrases between Stubbs and Sloan and radio and TV. You, Tierney, and Anderson kind of thing get put together. What about that clicked at the time? And obviously I think I think it was a wedding picture that everybody's still together kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's again, it's friendships that you never lose. And all three of those guys, Max, Tierney, Andy, they're all my wedding party. So, I mean, we've kept in touch over the years and went for dinners and stuff like that on the road. And you look back and it's funny every time, every time we see each other, every time we get together, we always talk about the junior days and how things were in London and to tell old stories and stuff like that. So it's awesome to get together with those guys and share stories and get some good laughs. And but I mean, I don't know how many guys I played with there. We were the fourth line, and I remember the gray line. That was one of our nicknames.
Yep.
And it's just amazing how we were the fourth line and we're all playing in the NHL and doing well and having success. So it's pretty cool to see, guys like that, how they've just kind of, pushed through and worked hard and got to where they are now and having success. It's great to be a part of.
You get through those kind of first couple years with the Knights. All of a sudden, you go from being the new kid to all of a sudden you get towards the draft year kind of thing. And you mentioned it. There was talk of what where you'd go and all that kind of stuff. How much did you try and block that out ahead of time and just kind of let things happen? Because I know a lot of the times when we talk to you guys post game sort of thing, we from the media side we knew that you went through the London Knights media training, and there was certain ways you answered questions, and that's just their professional way of getting you guys prepared for the next level sort of thing. But how much was that year kind of stressful, and then leading up to that time?
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy when it's your draft year. You always want to obviously have your best year because it's where it all counts. It's obviously it's how you played before that, but I mean it all counts in your draft year. So there is that extra pressure and that extra weight on your shoulders that makes you want to do that much better. And it's tough to block out the white noise and the draft rankings and the media all over you and but it's just, again, that's just something London did so well that they helped you get through that and deal with the media and just go and play hockey and enjoy it. I think was the biggest thing, and just block out all that stuff. So they definitely, I mean, London's just an NHL factory, it seems like, making NHL players, and they do such a good job preparing you for the next level.
A little bit different on NHL draft day than OHL draft day. You're no longer in the living room with the parents. You're sitting in an arena sort of thing. It's stressful enough, I'm sure, to sit in the stands and wait for your name to be called. It became a little bit crazier when Gary Bettman walks out on stage and says, "We have a trade to announce." At that point, did you kind of go, "I think this might involve me," or did you just kind of sit and watch it like everybody else and then kind of go, "Huh"?
Yeah, that was probably one of the most stressful days ever. I mean, obviously you're sitting there waiting and not sure where you're going to go. I could have went anywhere from 5 to 25. Like I had no idea what was going to happen. And obviously when that kind of happened, then the trade to announce, and Vancouver was trading up, and I didn't know what, like, if I was going to be me or somebody else. And sure enough, they called my name, and obviously I couldn't be happier to be in a Canadian city, a Canadian market, go to Vancouver. But at the same time, like, I just kind of wanted to get drafted, and then all of a sudden I get traded for a number one goaltender, and I had that. I couldn't have just got drafted. You know what I mean? Like, I just, they had that extra pressure, that extra. They should have got more for that, or is this kid going to be good enough? I'm always going to be compared to Corey Schneider, and that trade, and if it was the right move to make, and that extra pressure, and fans were all over me for a while, and all over the GM and stuff, and again, just that extra pressure to make me want to be a better hockey player, and prove to people that they did make the right move and made the right trade, and hopefully now fans see it that way.
I do recall personally getting in a little bit of trouble once with actually the front office people with the Knights, because somebody called into our post-game show and asked a straight-up question: who's going to be the more successful NHLer, Bo Horvat or Max Domi? And usually I'd let Pete answer every question because let the old guy get in trouble. And without missing a beat, it's the only time I ever cut Pete off. And I said, Bo, just because I prefaced it afterwards. I said, Max is a great player, lots of skill. I said, but Bo Horvat will be the captain of the team he plays on in the NHL. I recall leaving the arena that night, and there may or may not have been a member of the Knights management staff that came to say to me that was not the right answer to give, mainly because it was possibly saying that one player was better than the other. I explained. But thanks for at least making it seem like I somewhat knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. I appreciate the confidence booster there.
I know for you, going to kind of that first NHL camp sort of thing, does it seem like it was years and years ago sort of thing? And it kind of, I know that experience was initially going well, and then you get sent back to junior. But what was that first experience like, and how much did it make the next couple maybe a little easier?
Yeah, well, my first NHL camp was with John Tortorella, so I was in for a doozy there, and it was probably one of the hardest camps I've ever been a part of. We had a 2-mile run, so many off-ice tests and on-ice tests. I was done by the time the exhibition games got started. And Now I remember coming, obviously that was one of the last cuts, and coming back to junior, and I was just, for me, I was like, okay, this is what it's going to take to get to the NHL, and I got to get my butt in shape here. Like, obviously, the Sedins, they came first in every single fitness test, and I was, mid-pack to last, and I was like, okay, this is what it's going to take to get to the next level. I gotta work even harder. So it was kind of a big wake-up call for me. So I think it was the right thing to send me back, get another year under my belt, come back to camp in great shape. And I did that and ended up making the team next year.
Now, some guys in the past, and having followed junior for a little bit of my time myself, sort of thing, especially higher end prospects that are drafted, get sent back to junior. It becomes the 3-week frustration fest, and then all of a sudden things kick back into place. That was never the way for you, sort of thing. You came back, I'm sure you were disappointed, but you just jumped right back and went to work. Is that just kind of speaks to, was that the mentality you had at the time, or was it, or did things just kind of go well coming back, kind of thing?
No, I mean, I think for me it was, I never had the mindset when I came back was, I'm too good to be here. I think for me, it was okay, I got to work that much harder to get to the next level. So, whether I knew I wasn't going to get called back up to the NHL, so I'm going to have to try to do whatever I can to help this team win. So for me to think that I'm too good to be in the league, and just to go through the motions and not perform for my team, then I mean that's unacceptable too. So for me, I just want to come back and prove myself again, and try to keep getting better, try to make it to the NHL.
Is still one of your favorite memories with the Knights? It's still called in town The Goal. Game 7 OHL final, playing Barrie, sort of thing. I'm sure you've maybe reminded a couple of those guys that played on that Barrie Colts team a couple times of exactly what happened.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't think I'll score a bigger goal than that. Well, maybe one day, but I still don't think I scored a bigger goal than that in my career. Just once in a lifetime opportunity and chance to, obviously, with the game on your stick, and fortunately it went in. It just went in. It's just one of those things, right place, right time, and again, it's just something I'll never forget. It was pretty wild. Just the entire sequence of waiting and waiting, and the crowd chanting goal, and it was just, it was, again, once in a lifetime opportunity and moment. So yeah, it was definitely special.
Longest goal review ever?
Oh, it felt like it was an hour, but it was probably 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, it was something to be a part of.
Obviously, we're in that social media era now. I feel like you were almost one of the first guys to get your welcome to the NHL was like a social media thing, where all of a sudden teams were kind of starting to embrace the fact of cameras in dressing rooms, all that kind of thing. How vividly you remember that day, kind of thing of, I'm sure everybody remembers their welcome to the NHL moment, but was it a little bit different that maybe the world could kind of share along with you outside of just the guys in that room?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, the day and age of social media, it's just everything's so amplified, and you can't hide from anything really. Stats and trades and little things about you like that, and for me, it was just like, as soon as I got drafted on Twitter, I went from like probably 100 followers to it seemed like 10,000 in a day, just because of the whole Corey Schneider trade. And they're like, who's this Bo Horvat kid? And then all of a sudden, you get people tweeting at you that I suck. And, it's just stuff like that. That trade was stupid. And, it's just that white noise that you got to try to deal with and try to block out, and don't take things personally. Because, I mean, it's so hard nowadays to not look at it, or, it's everywhere. And just to keep pushing through it and not let it get under your skin is a huge thing nowadays.
A lot of guys do, obviously strength and conditioning with guys like Dwayne, sort of thing. A lot of guys are doing, mental health and psychology and that kind of thing, training. How much did that help, and maybe between the draft time and everything around that, and then kind of those first kind of couple seasons in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously the off ice part and the on ice part, that's obviously what I love to do. The social media thing and dealing with it is, it's tougher to talk about, and it's tougher for a lot of people to share, how they feel and things that are bugging them. So it's something that I had to work on and talk about with people, and talk about with, things that are bugging me, or, just sharing my feelings about how things are going. And once I learned how to do that, it made things a lot easier to talk about and to deal with, for sure.
You walk into the room, obviously in Vancouver, you're kind of, it looked like, things are going well. You're welcomed by some big names and that kind of thing. That experience, I'm sure, was it all positive, or was that just a really good group that kind of helped you? Because you were one of the youngest guys to be in the league when you were entering the league, kind of thing, if not maybe the youngest guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was like, that kind of era where it was just kind of, basically I felt like right after me is when all these young guys just started pouring into the league, and, right away. And I don't know, maybe I was just on a veteran team, but I was the youngest guy by, I think, like 5 years. So it was a tougher transition, but all the guys were awesome. Like, they all welcomed me with open arms and were all great to me, and took care of me, had me over for dinners, and it made me feel welcome. And, as a young guy, it's tough to, I was living on my own, and, it's all these guys are going back to their families and their kids, and it's totally different than junior. It's not what you expect. And so it was a little bit of an adjustment, but the guys made it so easy for me.
How much is that kind of, obviously it would have been a struggle, no doubt, but now you're seeing, young guys come into your lineup now, and obviously you're leading the team, sort of thing. How much do you kind of, knowing your personality, is that kind of, you go out of your way to kind of, help them out, sort of thing? You've had obviously a few higher end young guys come into that room in the last couple of years. How much do you take that as kind of obviously your responsibility as captain, but also the guy who's gone through that difference of having the young guys in the room?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I want to treat those guys like the older guys treated me when I was first coming into the league, and just welcome, again, make them feel comfortable, I think, is the biggest thing. They shouldn't be walking on eggshells every time they step in the dressing room, or feeling comfortable. So I think just making them feel comfortable right away, talking to them, joking around with them, just make them feel part of the guys. And that's how I felt when I first came in, and how I wanted the younger guys to feel too, because I know, like, I'm going home to my family and my little guy and my wife, so it's I know exactly how they feel. And just trying to reach out. Obviously it's harder with COVID right now, having guys over for dinner and going out for dinner with the guys, but just trying to do my best to make everybody feel comfortable.
Named captain of the team at obviously, some would say a young age, because you take a look at some of the lists of youngest captains, sort of thing. You're right in there, kind of thing. I know for some in this area anyway, it was kind of, I think most people think of it as the worst kept secret going, that you would more than likely be the next captain of the team. How much fun and how crazy was that period of time, sort of thing, leading up to them announcing it? And then I know they obviously had the ceremony to go along with it.
Yeah, no, it was pretty special. Obviously, having Hank and Danny present me with the jersey, and the GM, Jim Benning, called me that summer and told me, this is what they're going to do, and we feel like you're ready. And I was kind of taken back by it. Obviously, to be captain of an NHL team and to be even considered, it was just so humbling. Never in a million years. Small town kid from Rodney, just being a captain of a NHL team in Canada, it's pretty special. I feel very fortunate, and I mean, the whole process was pretty amazing. How they did it in front of the home fans and everybody going crazy. It was one of those moments I'll never forget as well.
Did you send a text message to Chris Tierney and say, "I finally got my C"?
No, I would never do that. Tierney was a great captain in junior, and I would never tell him that, because he's one of my best buddies, and he was great.
That was the fun debate of that year, was how are they going to find a way to split a C in half and put it on both sweaters at the same time?
Yeah, I know.
You guys, obviously, you mentioned the fact that you guys are close, sort of thing. That's a scenario kind of going back to. Do you guys feel like sometimes you kind of had the similar situation, both high end picks sort of thing in junior, and there was that up and down time for both of you guys, for people saying, is this going to work out? Are they good enough for this? Are they good enough for that? But then both of you obviously make the NHL, so it kind of in the end, the story works out exactly the way you both wanted, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we both worked really hard for what we got, and both had similar paths and had to work for everything, and it just shows what hard work can do, and put your nose to the grindstone and putting in the work and doing the little things to help you get to the next level, and obviously he proved it as well.
Let's fast forward, obviously, to last year. Everything happens COVID wise. Everybody tries to find their way to, to get to family and that kind of thing. Then the bubble comes around. What was that experience like? And, what was it a whole different way of dealing with what you've been used to for a couple years of a hockey season? And how much did it really throw things sideways for what you guys were used to?
Yeah, it was interesting. I'll put it at that. It was, obviously the hockey part was awesome. Playing playoff hockey, there's nothing better, and it's the best type of hockey to play, and it was great playing. I thought we obviously had a good run and did some really good things and built into this year, and but to be away from the family and to be in a bubble and not be able to do anything was tough, and to be hockey all the time and no escape, it was different. It was different to deal with. Me personally, obviously, my wife just had our kid a week before I had to go in the bubble, so I had a week with my little man, and then all of a sudden had to go to a bubble for 2 months. So it was just, again, it was one of those things you just have to deal with, and hopefully we're never gonna have to go into a bubble again, because it wasn't great in that sense of being away from the family, but. Yeah, it was a unique experience and something hopefully I'll never have to experience again. But it was definitely interesting.
I was going to say, does the average fan not realize how hard that was for you guys, sort of thing? Because obviously at that point, I'm sure from a fan's perspective, they were just happy to be able to have that entertainment kind of portion of normalcy back, sort of thing. But you look at it didn't matter how long guys stayed in the bubble, even if they were only there for a little bit of time. That seemed to be the narrative across the board of just how difficult that was, because it was literally play and stay hunkered down, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was play and stay hunkered down, and eat at the same restaurant every night and order DoorDash, and it was. I mean, it was different. Obviously, it was great to have some normalcy back in people's lives, especially during these hard times, and have something on TV to watch and cheer for and look forward to. And I thought it was great in that sense. To have hockey back on TV and even to be playing the game, it was great. It was just being away from the families was definitely the toughest.
This year comes around. I'm sure there a big sigh of relief when the phrase bubble didn't come back around, and they said no bubble, but you're only going to play the Canadian teams, sort of thing. And what was your initial thought on it, and then how has it been playing the same group of guys a little bit more than you're used to, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I mean, obviously we didn't want to go back into a bubble. It was. We wanted to be with our families for the whole year, and it's been working out great so far. But to play the same teams all the time, I think it's great for the fans, and it's great. It's been great rivalry so far, but I'm sure after 9-10 games, it's going to get old. We're just a little over halfway done, and you're starting to get sick of some guys already. So, I mean, it's just going to keep getting more heated, and. Hopefully things will get back to normal next year, but I mean it's been pretty fun this year.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you who those guys you're getting tired of seeing already. You can just say on certain teams if you don't want to throw a name down just in case. So we don't want to light up Twitter or anything.
Yeah, I don't want to say any names, but it's just the typical rivalries. I always love playing Toronto and Montreal and all the Canadian teams. It's always a rivalry when you're playing against a Canadian team. So Should be again another fun one again tomorrow night.
You mentioned obviously the connection between, guys you played junior with kind of thing, and the fact that you guys come back here in the summer to play golf tournaments and that kind of thing, when we can do that kind of deal. How much is that the enjoyable factor now? Because everybody's connected, obviously, you can send a text or, FaceTime with pretty much anybody and that kind of thing. But how much is it different when you can get to the rink and at least kind of stand across across a red line and have a conversation with, Josh Anderson you're playing against tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's more just looking at each other and laughing. It's not even. It's still weird playing against those guys. I don't know why. It's just you played against them, you played with them for 3 years, and you're good friends, and you're going out there trying to hit each other. It's a weird feeling sometimes, but again, we're trying to help each other's teams win. Now there are some conversations out there, but for the most part, it's all business out there.
Big difference these days for you. You mentioned husband to dad. How much is life a lot different here in a short couple of years, sort of thing? And I know personally as a dad, it's the change. It kind of changes you, sort of thing. How much is that the enjoyment of it's Gunnar, correct?
Yes. Yeah. You got it.
I got to ask the question. Where did the name come from?
I don't know. Like, my wife and I were just going through boy names. We found the boy names were hard, and we came across Gunnar and just thought it was a unique, strong name. And we just kind of it stuck, and we liked it, and just kind of rolled with it.
You mentioned your dad, Tim. As I said, everybody knows Tim around this area, sort of thing. He put you on skates how early?
I think he was trying to get me skating around like 18 months or something like that. I was walking around with skates on ever since I could walk, as far as I know. So I've already had Gunnar on skates. He's already been on the ice. It won't be before long that he's walking around in skates around the house. He's not walking yet, but when he can, he will be.
It's like you knew what my next question was going to be. Does that Horvat tradition continue?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's in our blood, I guess.
Your team this year, sort of thing. Things moving along here in the season, as you mentioned, halfway through. You're right in that kind of cusp of the playoff position with 4 in the North, sort of thing. How much do you feel like? I know for some teams the bubble was obviously crazy and trying to get things together. Then you come into the season, everybody's trying to kind of gear themselves back into a start at a different time, kind of thing. How much do you feel like your group's kind of just kind of making that move forward right now?
Yeah, I think we had some new guys, and it took a little bit to get our footing under us, but we're starting to play some good hockey now. And obviously this is crunch time during the season, and we need to basically try to win every single game from here on out. And we're right there. We're at the cusp of a playoff spot, and it's just going to get harder and harder as the season goes on. So we're playing some good hockey. We just got to keep it going now.
How tough is the schedule this year? Because I know that it's one thing to play in the bubble had its own elements, but now it's the shortened time span. You only get 1 or 2 days off here and there. I know a lot of teams have talked about the fact of maybe a lack of practice times, kind of thing, just because you got so many games. How different has that kind of made it, sort of thing?
Yeah, it has been. It's been really different. We play. It seems not seems like it. We play every other day. So it's been a little different in that sense. I think the most time we've had off so far has been 2 days in between games, and that's been it. And we've had limited practice time, especially earlier. Our schedule was pretty hectic, and we got some practice under our belt, and we kept getting better as a team. And it's different compared to different years. We have a little break here coming up, but usually you have a couple of days in between games to kind of regroup and recharge. And this year it's go. So it's been a lot different that way.
For those watching along on the feed, feel free to start throwing those questions in. We'll get those in here in a minute. We'll try and get Bo out of here by 10 because he's taking an hour of time. You mentioned you only got 2 days off. We appreciate the hour kind of thing. In this kind of situation, how much you enjoying the fact that and Bo disappeared on us. We'll see if we can get him back on here. Where's Blazer? There he is. Dwayne, we're going to bring you in here. We lost connection with Bo. It's he's trying to that hotel Wi-Fi sort of thing. So you've known Bo for so long, kind of thing, and he kind of some people have said he's the. I know if my wife jokingly says to me that I'm the youngest old guy she knows. I think for those who know Bo, they think, wait a second, he's only how old? When most people feel like he's been in the league for 15, 20 years.
It is crazy, man. Even for me, I've known him for a long time. So when I see him, it's hard to believe that he's been playing for that long already in the NHL, being a young guy. But I always joke, he's an old soul. He's one of those, he's like a 47-year-old man stuck in a really athletic 27-year-old body or 25-year-old body, right? So, but he's just an old soul, man. He's laid back. He's a family guy. You can tell he's small town, and now he's got his little guy Gunner and kind of changed a little bit. I think we all know if you have kids, it kind of maybe changes things a little bit. So I think, that was tough. And then obviously going to the bubble, like I remember talking to him when he was in the bubble, and yeah, as much as he's such a good guy, doesn't want to talk ill about stuff, but the bubble was hard on a lot of players, and not only just not having their family there, but also just being away and then not being able to do anything. Like you said, no outlets, right? So I think it was a huge shock for a lot of the players being in that bubble. And it's tough, it's a tough one, right? So.
How much do you use? I mentioned there in his kind of intro sort of thing, talking to him, but he was one of your first guests on your show as well. How much do you use him and kind of his work ethic and those kind of things as an example kind of thing?
Yeah, he's a great example, obviously, because he's a good guy. He was a pro at a young age, meaning he was dialed in at a young age. He knew the things he wanted to work on and stuff like that. So I think for him, it was like he was an easy guy to work with, super receptive, and kind of always wanted to get better, right? So I think he's just one of those guys that kind of almost like sets that bar, obviously, but he's contagious, right? So when he's on the ice working hard, you got young guys like Travis Konecny, those guys as well that have kind of followed suit. So I often go to Bo to kind of for examples of guys that I'd love to see at one point, just take some of the characteristics that he has to be that kind of complete player. But one quick story with him, he was slow, obviously. So one of the things we talked about a lot was quick starts with him. And I'm not joking, man. Like he would start almost every drill off in a quick start, which is crazy, when you really think about it. But 90% of the drills he started were just those first 3 steps and really hammered it and worked on it. And so just little things, just how he dialed in little skills, little things he wanted to get better at. It was always great to see. And then obviously super pumped that he's got the success he's having now for sure. Aside from like a good phone and a charger, other than that, he's got it all nailed in. Whoa, there he is. He heard me talking. He heard me ripping on him.
The Wi-Fi in the hotel in Montreal isn't doing exactly what he wants, eh, Bo?
Oh my God, I know. It completely cut out on me today. I'm gonna go down and complain about the front door. Oh my God.
No, you can cut me out, right? You can cut me out, Ryan, and now you guys can finish up.
All right. See the advantage when you got Dwayne sitting right there. I figured he's known you for years. I can just sub him in for a couple and away you go.
No kidding.
So thanks for jumping back on there, Bo.
Yeah,
you got your own IT department running over there.
Yeah,
so
I
do. Getting a few questions in, so we'll kind of throw those in and get them in. Dan Smith, has it been difficult transition this year as players to adjust to playing the same back-to-backs? And how do you prepare for or manage that kind of the flying from one end of the country to the other? Usually, maybe have some time off in between, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great question because normally. You're not obviously you're going on road trips and stuff like that, but you're not flying across the country a lot and then playing the next night. Usually you have at least a couple days in between, to kind of prepare and get your wind under you and get your, the jet lag out of your system. But right now, like we played a game at home and then flew the next day and then played a game in Ottawa the following night. So it's like, you have to just adjust really quick and get your legs under you and go right away. So it's been a lot different that way this year.
Probably especially because sometimes they build the schedule where you wouldn't kind of be going from one end to the other so much. It'd be kind of maybe some shorter trips along the way.
For sure. Yeah. So it's been a lot different that way.
Rick Odegaard from the Alumni Association. Where do you think the North Division sits strength-wise compared to the American groups right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think, I've tried to watch, a little bit of the American divisions, and there's obviously some strong teams, and you can tell, a lot of them are at the top of the league right now and playing well. But I mean, the North Division, it doesn't seem like every single night. It seems like it could go either way, and for us, it's been an adjustment, and it just seems like no matter what, you're in for a game. Every team's so good. Like I said, it could go either way any night. So, I mean, I think it's a really strong division, and it's going to be hard to come out of in the playoffs for sure.
And before I get to the next question, who's impressed you the most in the division this year?
I think obviously Montreal. They're really good. They're fast. They're all over you. They're constantly in your face type of mentality, and they've been playing really well this year. And obviously, you go with Toronto. They have so much skill up front, and they're tough to play against when you got that much horsepower.
I think we know who this is, the National Skills Development Association. I think you should change the intro there, but what advice would you have for young players wanting to improve their game? Was it maybe what was just mentioned, that the footwork?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, work on your weaknesses, and for me, like Dwayne said, a lot of it was skating, and for me, just to keep working on my quick starts and working on my stride, my skating, and just continue to keep getting better at every aspect of your game, and that's just by working hard. I mean, it's as simple as that. Have a positive attitude, and again, don't forget why you play, and that's because you love the game and you have fun. And if you stop having fun playing it and doing what you love, then you shouldn't be doing it. And for me, I feel really fortunate to be playing the game that I love and playing a game for a living. So it's if you work that hard and want it bad enough, you're going to get it.
Mark Teskey enjoyed trying to shut down your powerful Toronto Red Wings squad while coaching the Junior Canadians. Do you have a favorite story from those championship teams?
I think we won it in I forget. I mean, it feels like forever ago, but I mean, just playing against the Junior Canadians all the time, and the Marlies and Don Mills Flyers and all those guys. It was always great matchups, and I feel fortunate that I got to play in the GTHL and got to play against people like Max Domi was playing for Don Mills Flyers, and Darnell Nurse. I played with Nursey for a bit, and I remember playing, I think it was Don Mills in the finals, and ended up beating them, and then ended up winning the championship in Thunder Bay that year. So great memories from playing the GTHL for sure.
Coach of our own Mustangs men's team, Patrick Roulette, what was the biggest part of your game that you had to improve on making the jump from junior to the NHL?
Well, actually, before I got sent down from the NHL back down to the OHL, Torts actually just said for me it was my pace, and to keep my pace up, and it was just my speed, and for me, keep working on my speed and working on that aspect of my game. But I think for the biggest thing for me was to just play at that elite level. It's either speed up or get left behind. And that was as simple as that. And for me, it was just keep working at it and trying to get faster. And the more I played, the more I was able to keep up with these elite players.
Who text messaged each other first when Max got traded to Columbus? Did you text him about Torts, or did it go the other way?
No, I just texted him and just told him that he's going to do great there. And I only had Torts for a shorter period of time, so I don't really know too many Torts stories. But I think Max is his type of player that plays hard every single night and works hard and has a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to do great things there in Columbus.
Sounds like there might be a golf-related story here, but Rick saying he feels bad about keeping that TaylorMade he found. If you want it back, let him know. So I don't know if that was a TaylorMade ball or if you left a golf club out on one of the courses around town. I know that's a pastime right there for you guys when you get back.
If I remember correctly, I think I put a golf ball, tailor-made golf ball, in his backyard. So if that's the same neighbor that's living around me in London, then you can keep that golf ball, because clearly I can't use it.
And just finally, a couple things before I pass things back over to Clark for you on your group. I know kind of before we came on tonight, you were kind of talking about a few of the guys that have been kind of standouts with your group. You talked about, Quinn. I know, those guys, sort of thing. Thatcher Demko in net for you guys. How impressed have you been with those guys and their development here in the last little bit?
Yeah, they've been awesome. Thatcher just keeps getting better and better every single night, it seems like. And obviously his performance in the playoffs, and again this year, he's been phenomenal. And then Quinn just speaks for itself, just his ability to make plays and his skating ability. And I mean, yeah, he's a special player, and there's not too many guys like that in the league, and we feel really fortunate to have him.
Then we'll get one last one in here. Ron asking, do you have much contact with Travis? Obviously a family member there. Everybody's, whether it's brothers from a Knights organization or across the family, there's connections all over the place.
Oh yeah, I mean, Travis and I, we keep in contact every once in a while, see how things are going. And obviously he's having a great year again. And obviously we see each other a lot in the summer, working out and skating and stuff, and at family events sometimes. So I try to keep in contact as best I can with him and see how things are going. But again, another special player that has worked for everything he's got and continues to keep getting better every year.
We're getting close to time, so I'll bring Clark back in. Bo, it's been good to chat and good to see you, and best of luck the rest of the year and obviously going forward, man.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Bo, I just had one quick question before we signed off here, kind of a coaching question. And I just wondered, everybody in the country, North America, talks about Connor McDavid. And I wondered, when you play the Oilers, and I assume your line matches up against him at home, do you approach the game any differently when you're matched up against him versus, last night in Ottawa, tomorrow night in Montreal? Like, how do you approach the game when you played against him?
Yeah, you have to approach it differently. There's no other way to put it. I mean, he is by far the best player I've ever played against in my career. Like, in my opinion, I don't know. I've told this to a lot of people. He's by far the best player I've ever seen in the game. Just in skill wise. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody faster, skilled. He actually gets faster when he skates with the puck, which is incredible to me. So, I mean, it's just, for me, it's staying above him all the time and trying to limit his time and space. I mean, you got to think defense first in that situation. If you turn it into a run and gun game and try to trade chances with him, he's going to win that battle 9 times out of 10. So, for me, it's just playing sound defensively and trying to limit his time and space. And even that's tough to do when you're just thinking of defense all the time. And I mean, he's one of those special players that you're not going to see in the game for a long time.
Well, that's great, Bo. Well, thanks a lot. And I have my own quick Rodney story from January. I'd never been to Rodney, Ontario before. And my son ended up buying a snowmobile in Rodney in January. And I drove down with him to pick it up. And I had my Mustangs hockey jacket on, and we walked in the garage, and the young man we brought it from saying, as soon as we arrived, said, "Hey, you know Bo Horvat?" And I said, "You know what? I don't know him personally, but he might." Dwayne was talking to you about coming on the hot stove at that point. So I mentioned that, and all he could talk about was what a great guy you were and how proud you were of Rodney and how proud they were of you. So I thought that would be a good way to finish this. And thanks again for coming on with us tonight. I'm sure the audience enjoyed it. Just like everything I've heard about you, very thoughtful, full of character, great young man, and we all wish you nothing but success the rest of the year. So thanks again for coming on the hot stove. We all enjoyed it a great deal. Thanks to our question and answer sponsor, Broken Tees, who will be sending all our guests of the Hot Stove a t-shirt or a Broken Tees hat. Thanks for Dwayne Blay for arranging with Bo to be on tonight. Thanks for our wonderful host, Ryan Robinson. Thank you to all our viewers out there and our guests. I think approaching 80 to 90 right now on the Hot Stove for being with us tonight. We're on again next Thursday, March 25th at 9 p.m. With Mark Guy, former player agent and former Mustang hockey captain. Enjoy the great weather and the weekend coming up. We'll see everybody again next Thursday night. Thanks again, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bo.